On behalf of Vidyalankar Gyanpit Trust and Vidyalankar Institute of Technology, I, Ashish Shekhar, welcomes you to the fourth day of Atal-sponsored one-week online FDP on design thinking. I hope your learning experience so far in the FDP would be a pleasant. Continuing with the same enthusiasm and zeal towards learning, let me introduce the speaker of the session. It is my great pleasure to introduce to you Mr. Ajay Agarwal. Sir is the lead in design thinking practice in KPMG India. His professional career spans across various roles in advisory, product and service design, process automation, sales and business development, and training. He has over 15 years of industry experience in manufacturing, FMGC, IT, education, consulting, BPO, BPM, banking, and NBFCs, auto, movie exhibitions, etc. He has been passionately advocating creation of a design-driven culture in organizations and helping them redesign their customers' experiences, service product, and strategies. In his role as an advisor to several key clients, he has demonstrated tangible impact design thinking can have across all business functions. He has a strong voice on social media and frequently writes thought leadership, point of views, and blogs to bring awareness on design thinking in India. He has coached around 500 design thinking practitioners. He also mentored startups as a way to encourage and support innovation in the industry. We are really pleased to have you, sir, today. Without wasting much time, I would like to hand over to Sir. The dais is yours, sir.
Thank you so much, Ashish. First of all, am I audible to everyone? If quickly all of you can give me a yes or a no on the chat, let me just see if I'm loud and clear. By the time, yes, good. I think Dr. Tasneem says yes, Meenu says yes, good one. Arun says audible. Cool. I think that's nice. So happy that I am audible and there is no technical glitch today. I'm just sharing my screen with all of you. Give me a yes if you can see my screen as well. Okay, Mayur, if you can give me a Meenu says yes, good. I think that's a nice one. Welcome to, I think it's day 4 today. Welcome to day 4 of the design thinking journey that you all are having and the design thinking lessons that you have been learning. Interestingly, approximately a month back when Dr. Meenakshi reached out to me and mentioned that we want you to requested me to speak on design thinking as a topic. And when I asked her that, can you just share with me the various topics that the other esteemed speakers would be speaking on? And when I saw the list, I thought to myself that people are covering empathy, people are covering creativity, people are covering storytelling, people are covering prototyping. So a lot of topics that are associated with design thinking already getting covered. And after a lot of brainstorming with her and a lot of self reflections, what I thought that how would I be able to add value to the esteemed group of people who have joined in today would be by looking at the topic of commercializing wicked designs. What do I call as wicked designs? There are wicked problems. Wicked problems, you have been hearing about wicked problems since the past 3 days, which is about problems that are very vague. So the solutions to those wicked problems are wicked designs. That's what I feel. And the topic for today is commercializing them. How do you bring commercial value to them? Because that's what is of utmost importance. You create a design and the design does not go in the hands of the customer. It's a waste. It's a pure complete waste. And that's my agenda for the day. I will guide you through the journey of I'll guide you through the journey of how do you commercialize designs, what are the considerations that you have at commerciality. disclaimer. Cool. So there is design for this. A quick disclaimer for all of what we don't what exactly if you need now also. Is it better? Okay, let me just try and see if I can go off video. Just 1 second, and then you can just tell me, is the voice better? Or is not
Yes,
clear?
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so I think I
Yes, sir.
will stay off video.
Your voice is clear.
Subsequently, I will come on the video as and when the network improves and I get a signal of that. Cool. So I think let's focus on the topic. My voice. So I'm happy that it is now a bit clear. Cool. So the first question that I have for all of you for the day is: think of a recent commercial decision that you made in your personal life. Any commercial decision that you've recently taken. Maybe buying a shirt, it may be gifting someone something, it may be buying a new car, it may be buying a new house, it can be anything where there was commercial involved. Reflect it was good or whether it was reflect it was if it was good or bad. And the reflection is, why do you think it was good or bad? If you could just quickly give me some thoughts on the chat, it'll be great for me to understand how. Okay, Minu says buying a TV, good one, Minu. So buying a fire stick, good one. So Minu has done a lot of expenses recently. Bought a phone. That's what Dr. Sheetal says. Good one. Ashish says buying a house. Guys, I don't just want you to tell me what have you bought or what have you done. I want you to think about whatever you've bought or whatever commercial decision you took, whether it was a good or a bad decision, and why do you think it was a good or a bad decision? Yes, it was a good decision because it was required. That's what Dr. Sheetal says. Interestingly, someone says bad buy. That's what Minakshi says. Good one, Minakshi. Bad didn't meet my expectations. That's what Arun says. Ashish says it was a good decision. Buy a broadband internet connection, buying a house. Good one. I think a lot of you have recently taken a lot of commercial decisions. A lot of commerciality was involved into the entire thing. So I'm happy that we have been taking commercial decisions in our personal lives. Just that we will have to bring the same sense. While I'll give you a framework, while I'll give you some tools, and that's my promise that for whatever I tell you, for whatever concept that I tell you, I will also give you a tool and we will also practice it live here. So if you have been taking commercial decisions in your personal life, the same commercial acumen has to be brought in the professional life as well. That's it. There's nothing different there. So the first thing that we start with is commerciality is a mindset. So the three things that we will cover today, the first part is design commerciality. Second part, we will also talk about some bit of fundraising because that's a topic that gets discussed a lot nowadays. So I will just touch upon it while it'll be too much of a content to cover, but we will just touch upon certain things. And the third most important thing that I feel is you as the esteemed faculty group for all the colleges across India, your role in the life of these students, your role in the life of commercializing designs, your role, what are certain things that you need to embrace so that you can have more innovation coming out from the students who you have been mentoring and teaching. Great. So the story that I'm going to tell you is of a guy known as Ajay. Okay, Haryanvi from a business. While I was introduced with all the jazz that Ashish introduced me with, but let me tell you a story about Ajay. Haryanvi from a business community with two failed startups on his and lost respect on his back. The startups may have died, but the faith has not. And today he's looking to launch a new service, or he's looking to launch his third startup, which is COVID-19 fumigation services. I'm sure this is very recent, and all of us kind of relate to this, that there is a pandemic that has hit us, and we all want to be safe from the pandemic. So there's a COVID-19 fumigation service. Remember, it is a service that is the startup all about, that the startup is all about. Cool. So that's our design challenge, or that's our commercialization challenge. So whatever we do in terms of activities, remember, you will see this guy, this icon there on the activity part. So remember, you have to do the activity on the COVID-19 fumigation services, and you need to help Ajay to commercialize his design. That's what you need to do. Cool. Thank you, Meenakshi, for the appreciation of the noble cause. Good one, but all noble causes come with a cost as well. So we will need to commercialize this. Cool. So what in business, or in the times when we look at designs, when they need to go into the hands of the customer and we need to commercialize them, there are three key questions. Or what do we call commercial thinking in business? There are three key questions that we necessarily need to have in mind, or that we necessarily need to think about. The first one: who are my customers? We'll discuss more on this, but keep this question in mind: who are my customers? Second, what value is my design bringing in their life, or what value is my design having in their life? That's about defining value. And the third thing that we talk about is, what is the commercial model? We think about all these things, we think about all these angles of the design of the business that we are trying to build up, or of the, even if it is an we are trying to build up, we need to think of these, or all the platform, the various kinds of things that we, or whatever designs we have created, we need to think of it from these three angles to start bringing in commerciality into the design, or to start bringing in commerciality into the entire context of helping the designs get successful. So we'll go deeper into each one of these now. And the first part that we talk about, so here is a case that you can, that I will refer every time for each of these three questions. This case is of Mypresso. Mypresso is a coffee machine that learns your behavior and brews as per your taste and preference. So you brew 3 times, and the 4th time it has already learned your behavior, and you go there, it will recognize you, and it will same taste, same temperature, same coffee that you always drink, you will have it with you. So you don't have to press all those buttons and try and brew your own coffee, or try and brew the coffee every time, or think about how much milk do I add, how much quantity of coffee do I add. Nothing doing. All of it is done by it. It's powered by technology. Now, the first question that we had, you remember we talked about it, who are my customers? So customers do not only, so there are various levels that we talk about of customers. Customers do not only mean, so since the past 3 days, we've been talking a lot about users. Fine, users definitely are customers. The second type of customer, or the second can be payers, people who will pay for it. Not necessarily the people who are the users of our design are the people who will pay for it. So there are payers or customers. Then you have stakeholders, influencers. There are many people in the entire ecosystem that we need to understand, and that we need to sell to, or that we need to commercialize our designs with. So we need to understand who are the people in the ecosystem that are involved in the entire. Suppose I've taken just one type of persona or one type of user here. The users of this coffee machine and this coffee would be the corporate employees, people who work in the corporate, or maybe you are working in the institute, in the various institutes that you work with. So you will have a lot of you might be having coffee twice a day, right? When you need breaks, or when you need to refresh yourself. So corporate employees is the persona that I have taken. The second one, payers, people who will pay for it. The employees are not going to pay for it. It's the HR and admin in the companies who will buy this and maintain and pay for the entire thing. So for me, I also need to look at what is my payer expecting, what do I need to give to my payer, what's in it for him. The third part, stakeholders. There are other stakeholders in the ecosystem, like servicing vendors and multiple other things, because not everything I'll be able to do. I will need to partner with a lot of people and create an entire ecosystem. So I need to understand what is that I need to give to them, or what's in it for them. And the fourth part is influencers. So there are the crux is there are multiple users in the entire journey, or multiple type of customers in the entire ecosystem, and we need to understand and identify them. So the message, and with every example that I take, we will look at a message. So it all starts with identifying the altitude. I'll tell you what is the altitude. What do you mean by the altitude? So it all starts with identifying the customer altitude, and the altitude is this. So we don't just, when we look at commercialization, we don't just focus at the user. We focus at the right altitude. So where do we need to commercialize this? Do we need to commercialize it with the user? Do we need to commercialize it with the customer, who's the payer? Do we need to commercialize this with the community? So there are a lot of designs, a lot of solutions that are not sold to an individual. It's sold to a community, and the entire community drives pays for it and drives it. Or the next part of it is, do we need to commercialize it within the entire ecosystem? So what we need to understand is that what are the commercial propositions for each of these altitude levels, for the user, for the customer, for the community, and for the ecosystem. So that's what we need to understand, and that's what we need to start. When we start thinking of commerciality, that's what we need to define. Who are the people, users, the customers, the communities that this design will be playing in? The reason behind, if whatever design you have created, if it is not as per the community social norms. Suppose if I talk about a simple example, let's take a simple example. When McDonald's came into India, burgers were, I mean, globally, burgers are still beef. It's very simple. You say burgers, it means beef. McDonald's came into India, in the entire community of, or the entire social, in the entire social ecosystem of India, in Hinduism, in Hindu as a religion, or Hinduism as a religion, cow is sacred to us, right? So beef definitely does not fit into the social norms. So if we need to commercialize it, we also need to understand the entire community and what's in it for the community, so that we're not conflicting with the social norms of the community, so that we can sell our designs and it kind of goes smooth. So some framework, some tool that I've tried to give you in terms of the altitude. Let's try, now it's your turn. Let's try and get to the activity. The activity that we have to do is this: COVID-19 fumigation services. What you need to do is, for each activity, we will only have 5 minutes. Remember, it's fast paced, so you need to quickly rattle your brains and come out with the answers. Identify the altitude for COVID-19 fumigation services. We just talked about the altitude. We talked about users, customers, communities, and ecosystem. Do is quickly identify the altitude and give me and type it on the chat window. Let's try and see what you have and what you can give me. With all the expert brains, let's try and focus towards what level would we commercialize this design? Community. Okay, so you say the community will be paying for it. Cool. Ecosystem, good, Ganesh. So it's the ecosystem. You will need to commercialize with the ecosystem. Housing societies, that's absolutely. So basically, that would be the customer. Okay, society. By community, I mean example, housing society. Yes, Dr. Sheetal, no worries. Yes, let's try and see what others have to say. Quickly, guys, come on, come on. Yes, schools, hospitals, college, ecosystem and community, good. Institutions, great. Offices, cool. Super. So I'm happy looking at what you have been talking about and what you have been thinking. That's the first step, guys. Remember, and that's the first answer that we need to have, which is about that out of all these 4 levels that I talked about, one, who will pay for it? Who do we need to charge for it? That's one. Second, we will need to have an answer, or we will need to have an answer to what value are we delivering to each level in the community? What is the value that we are delivering to each level in the community? Okay, so we will need to have an answer. Otherwise, if any part of the altitude is left, or any part of the altitude is not getting an answer to the value, it will be conflicting to the entire commercial model of your design. So you will see that the user wants it, but the customer does not want to pay for it, or the customer is ready to pay for it, but the community is not allowing them to pay for it or buying it. Take an example: you as a person want to get your house fumigated, but the society says we will not allow anyone in the society to come and get it fumigated. Possible. So what I'm trying to tell you is that in the entire ecosystem, you need to, or in the entire altitude, you need to define who are the various people, or who are the various who are the various stakeholders in the entire altitude, and then move to the next level of defining value for them. And that's where we are now heading to, which is about how do you define value for the design for each of these players in the altitude. So we will just move forward to the next part of it. We will continue with MyPresso because it's morning and we would definitely love to have a good MyPresso or a good coffee to help us rejuvenate ourselves and help our brains get active. So let's try and see how is value getting defined. So I have just taken one part of it, but the same thing you will have to do with each level of the altitude. So the needs. I've taken the perspective of the user here. So brewing my coffee without much effort and having a great taste. That's the need that I'm addressing. Value is automatically brewing my preferred taste of coffee, and I will have me time to think of new things and new ideas and new, because I'm talking about corporate employees. So I will have me time, and I can think of new things, new ideas, new innovations that I would want to bring into my work life. Or maybe I'm thinking of something else that is of value to me. The value unit. That's what I talked about, because people pay for the value unit. People do not pay for the product. People always pay for what you are gaining out of the entire solution or the product that you're buying, right? Value unit for the person is it brews coffee with your preferred taste, flavor, and temperature to give employees more time to think, or to give yourself more time to think. So for the HR itself, it's about creating more time to think with a great experience for the employees so that you can create better engagement. They might have break times and they can have a great coffee during that time. So that's the value unit. That's what we are trying to sell. That's what we are trying to propose when we go and when we want to go and uh, uh, propose it in front of an HR head to say that, or an admin head to say that this is my design and this is what I want to bring in. This is the value that I'm bringing to the customer, or this is the value that I'm trying to bring to the user and the customer in this case. Cool. So the message for all of us in this scenario is value is not what you deliver. It is what the customer gains out of it. So remember, a lot of times we go and say that I am giving you this mouse. That's the value. No, value is never that. Value is in fact reverse. What is the customer gaining out of it? The customer is gaining ease of use of a laptop when he's trying to buy a mouse, or he's wanting to work hands free. He does not want, he feels very uncomfortable working on the keypad. So he wants to work on the mouse. So that's the value, which is the ease of use. That's the value. That's from a customer's perspective. So remember, guys, when we try and want to be when we're looking to commercialize our designs, do not, and when you're trying to define value, do not try to, yes, Dr. Sheetal, it's customer value proposition. Do not try to design or define value from what you deliver or what you are giving to them. No, it's about what they gain out of your design. It's that is what your value is. So I will, as I told you, that for everything I will give you a tool as well for you to practice it, for you to use it with your students or within yourself as well. Also, because I'm sure you also are creating a lot of designs that you want to commercialize. So let's try and understand this tool a bit. So this tool, we call it the value proposition canvas, which basically helps you define which basically helps you and define the value proposition of your design it from a customer's lens. So if you just look at it, let me just try and explain it to you. So you always start filling the value proposition canvas from the right hand side, this part of it, the circle part of it. you define, so do you define what are the various activities that the customer is right now doing, what are the various things that the customer is right now doing. So let's talk about that. He goes to the coffee machine, he presses some buttons, he tries and figure out what coffee does he want to drink. All those kind of things are the activities. You then define what delights the customer and what are the pain points that the customer is having. Okay, you already have a solution, but to define the value proposition, this value proposition canvas helps you in doing that. Now, after doing this, you go to the left hand side. You first put what is your solution. My presso is my solution. So that's the solution that we talk about. And what are the various aspects of the design, or what are the various features that I have in the design, which is what are the functionalities that I have, what is the aesthetics, what is the commercial, and what is the emotional part, which we in the design world call as the face of designs. And then you start looking at, for all the gains that the person already has, how are the gains getting enhanced by your solution. So we look at that. And the second part that we talk about is, how are the pains getting reduced. So basically we say that if in your design is able to enhance the gain and reduce the pain, this is the value proposition that your design is able to deliver. So it's basically the gain enhancer and the pain reducer. That's the value proposition. That is what the customer is deriving from it. That's what the customer is valuing. That's what the customer will be ready to pay for, and not for just what you are trying to give to. Okay, so remember, so try using this tool. I think it helps. It kind of gives you a very good view, or a very good way to define value for the design that you have created, and which helps you to to easily put your design in the hands of the customer, and it kind of makes it easy to commercialize it completely. Now, my turn is over. Now it is your turn. So, what you need to do is, for the COVID-19 fumigation services, you need to help Ajay define the value unit. That's what you need to do. And remember, we just talked about what value is and what value unit is. So, what you need to do, you need to define the value unit for the COVID-19 fumigation services. And that's what I want to see you put in the chat window. Let's try and see what you can do, or what you are thinking of. Okay, I'm waiting. Okay, let me do one thing. I will, by that time, no, value is not sanitization, Dr. Sheil. Think more. Think more. What is the value? What is the value that you're giving to the customer? Why are you getting your home sanitized? Or why are you getting, so I'll, by that time, what I'll also do is you guys to just try and think and activate your brains. I'll just play some music as well for you. Personal safety from COVID, good one, Mansi. That's good. Safe space. That's the value. Safety, yes. That's the value. Yes. Physical safety, emotional safety. Both the things we are trying to bring together. That's the value unit. So you won't go and tell the customer that I am giving you sanitization. The customer will say, I have 100 ways. But what you are telling is that I am making you safe from COVID-19. You and your family safe from COVID-19, or the entire society safe from COVID-19. And for that, I think you need to get your society and every home in your society fumigated every week once. That's what you have to think about. Carefully, easy to call, ensures clean surroundings at an affordable price, keeping allergies and convenience of the customer in mind. Good one. I am happy the way that you guys are thinking. Children's safety, yes. Just think of it. We all can be consumers to this service, right? So think of it that why would we want to get it done? Yes. Music can be off, please. Sure, Mansi, I will get it off. No worries. Yes. Cool. So I'm happy that you guys are yes, they're elderly as well, to sensitive people. It should not cause allergy. So that's again a part of the value proposition that the entire fumigation service, while it saves you from COVID-19, it is still under the guidelines of not causing any kind of allergies because it is in the limit of uh, or it's in the limit of chemical usage that is happening. Good. Now let's move to the next part of it, which is about defining the commercial model. So we've now understood that who is the customer, who are we going to who's going to pay for it. We understand that broadly. The second part that we defined is what is the value that we are delivering to the customer, for which he's going to kind of pay. The third thing that we now need to move to, or that we now need to talk about, is what is the commercial model. Now, interestingly, a lot of times we get stuck with saying that there's only one way to commercialize a design. There's only one way that we can charge. No, there are a lot of ways to commercialize the model. These are some ways that I've just mentioned here in from a MyPresso standpoint. Charge out model one, that can be one-time charge for the machine with 1 year of warranty, charge for coffee cubes and machine maintenance. That's the first charge out model. The second charge out model can be machine for free with 1 year warranty. So we are not charging for the machine. We will go and install it in your office. Charge for coffee cubes, that's the only charge, and charge for maintenance services. The third kind of charge out model that we can have is one time charge for the machine with 5 years of warranty, charge for the coffee cubes, that's what we will charge, service charge for bi-yearly maintenance. So what we are saying is, you buy the machine, there's a 5 year warranty, anything happens to it, we are going to repair it free of cost. But every year, twice, you will have to get it serviced from us. And the service is chargeable. We will not charge you for any parts, anything that happens. Why are we giving you the service as well? So that your machine stays in good condition and it does not get spoiled. Now, there are some ways that we can look at designing charge out models. So it is not only about saying that if I'm selling a machine, I need to charge for that. No, not necessary. I mean, I'll give you an example. I'm sure all of you have those big Xerox machines that you've seen in your in the institute or in offices that are installed. Those those giant kind of Xerox machines that are there, which are almost 60% of my height. Yeah, right. All those machines are for free. They're not charged at all. What is the Yeah, that's also possible. So, I'm just giving some options. There are many more ways, and I'm happy about it that you do. So, you just start thinking about various ways of commercializing or various commercial models that you can attach to it. So, do not only just think about in a one single direction. Because I'll tell you, a lot of times in my life of or my experience of commercializing a lot of designs that I've helped customers do or I have done in my life on my own. Um, what I've felt is that a lot of times these charge out models also have to be pivoted or also have to be experimented with. So you need to have options in your hand. You need to say that these are the five models that I have. Let me try and pivot, or let me try and experiment with, or let me try and test each of the model. Which model will strike with the customer? Or which model will work with the customer, we don't know. So like I said, in the entire Xerox kind of model, the machine price is way high. It comes at a cost of approximately 1.5 to 2 crores. That's the cost of the machine. But what they've done, or medical devices also, but what they've done is simply no charge for the machine. It's pay per use straight away. You pay for the refilling. So basically, as and when the belts in the machine get, or the ink in the machine gets refilled, you will pay for that. So there can be various ways to charge for the machine. And now to tell you, like Dr. Sheetal mentioned, you remember I talked about the altitude. Now you need to understand that whether you want to charge the user. So the corporate employee would pay for it, which is about the machine is free, everything is free. The guy who goes and takes the coffee, maybe swipes his card and he takes the coffee from there. So the user is paying for it. You say that I won't charge the user at all. For the user, it is completely free. The admin is sponsoring it. So the admin pays for it. Machine goes for free. I charge for the refilling that is done and for the maintenance that I will. So That's what you need to understand and decide as a designer who's trying to commercialize their design. That's what you need to decide, that who are we going to charge, and what is my charge out model, or what is my commercial model for the person whom I'm going to charge for the design that I'm trying to put together. The message for all of us here is the ultimate puzzle: who will pay for it? That's what we are trying to sort out here. That who will pay and what will they pay? That's the puzzle that we are trying to solve for the design. Because remember, I'll tell you one more thing. If it is what, if suppose whatever you've designed is an innovation, it's something new that you've done, that's the outcome of it, or it's an invention, it's something completely new that has happened. This challenge of the charge out model becomes a even tougher puzzle. If the whole part is, it's already an established thing, more or less it's similar, you've just improved on it, so there's already an established commercial model, you need to just try and figure out maybe some differentiation that you do to it. But if it is an innovation and invention which is slightly bigger than the normal incremental improvement, then this puzzle becomes a bit difficult. That how do you solve this puzzle of where do you, in whose hands will you place it into, and who will pay for it, and how much will the person pay for it, for the value proposition that you're trying to deliver. Cool. So the framework that you can look at, three key questions that you can try and ask to yourself or the students who are trying to design or who are trying to innovate or who you will help to try and innovate moving forward. The first question that you need to help them answer, or you need to work with them to get the answer out, is what can be charged for the value unit? Who's going to pay for it? What is the charge out model? We just looked at the example. What would be the pricing? How much would we charge for the machine? How much would we charge for the filling? How much would we charge for the maintenance? How much would we charge for the any major repairs? I'm sorry. How much would we, everything for free? How much would we charge for the coffee? I will not charge for anything else, but for the coffee. So whatever is the charge out model, you need to decide on what is the price point that we put to it. Again, remember, there is, for innovations, there is no way to find that out. There is no way to just say that the only way that you can do is if there's some market data available or there's some competitor benchmarking which is available, you can try and look at that and say that this is what the approximate or an average charge for this is. And then you try and say, okay, fine, I am delivering more value, I will try and charge something more. Or you say that you look at analogous, saying that suppose if I'm looking at my presso here, I might want to look at an analogous or an analogous industry or an analogous space, which can be, say, tea, or which can be maybe soft drinks, or which can be any of these things. And you try and see that what are they charging, and basically you look at designing a pricing model. But remember, you as startups or as people who are trying to put these designs in the hands of the customer, you will have to pivot the pricing as well. I'll give you a simple example of this in my life experience of so basically this was approximately a year and a half back. We designed a product for a company. So we were as KPMG, we were working with a company and we helped them design a product. And when we wanted to decide on the pricing, okay, we were not getting a direct reference, or we were not getting a direct listing of how or what should we be charging for the. We had something in mind. We had the parameters. We had all of that in with us, but we were not able to figure out that what should and at what price would the customer buy. What did we do? We said we started pivoting it. We started market testing it. How did we market test it? We the first time when we placed the design in the hands of the customer, we placed it at 7K. Okay. Ultimately, and this was all piloted. We tried and said this will come in for 7K. We experienced, you'll be learning about empathy from the past 3 days, I'm sure. So we tried and figured out that at 7K, what are the customers' reaction? Ultimately, the final price of the product was 40,000. That's what we moved the product to say that per unit it will get sold at 40,000. But we started with 7K. and incrementally we tried and figure out that what is the price point that we uh, put in front of the customer, or what is the price point that we can look at the innovation being put in front of the customer. The second key question that you will have to help students address, or you will have to help people address, is what are the upfront investments required in the entire into building and scaling the design that is getting created. So it can be fixed investments, operational expenditures, variable expenditures, and there can be various other expenditures that you're having. So what are the investments required? What is that you will need? That if this solution has to be delivered, has to be developed, delivered, and scaled, what is that needs to, what is the cost model that we have, basis which we will decide that what are the investments that we will need, or what is that we need to go and raise funds for. If suppose we need to, if you're not bootstrapping it, if you're not putting in our own money, what is the funds that we need to go and from the investors. So that's the second question that you will need an answer to when you create a commercial model. And the third question that you will have to help them figure out is the valuation. What is the net present value? Now, there are various ways that it gets done. There are professional agencies who help startups, or who help organizations figure out the valuations that they need to, or I mean, the valuation that their business has. But as at an inception stage, even if you are able to help them create an initial valuation, saying that over a, because that's what the first question that investors will also have after describing everything, describing your after describing that what is the design all about, what value it is giving to customers, why will customers buy it, all those questions are answered. Then they will ask you, what is the valuation of your business? What is that your business will be able to deliver in a 3-year time frame, in a 5-year time frame? And that's what you can help them figure out. And a good tool to use for that is, I'm sure, I don't know whether you're aware of it, but there's NPV that you calculate, which is net present value of an entire business, saying that over the next 5 years. And remember, I've very consciously put cash flows here and not looking at profits or anything. Straight away saying how much money is coming in and how much money is going out in terms of cash or in bank. I need to understand, because in the initial phases of the business, the only or the most important thing that you need to take care of is the cash flow. Because if you're running out of cash, you will not be able to survive your business. You Profits can come in later, goodwill can come in later, all other things can happen. But if you're running out of cash, you will not be able to pay salaries, you will not be able to pay to your vendors, you will not be able to um, manage your day-to-day petty expenses that are happening, right? Or day-to-day operations. So cash inflow versus cash outflow, and reaching to the there's an entire method to do that. It's very lesser time to explain how do you get to the NPV, but you help them in the initial stages. You help them at least to project that is over the next 3 years and 5 years, what would my business valuation be, or what value would my business be able to generate in terms of numbers, in terms of money? Because ultimately it all boils down to money. Ultimately it all boils down to how much money will your business be able to generate, right? So my time over, now it's your time. Let's try and see. I will not put you into a spot by telling you to calculate the NPV as of now, because it's too short a time for you. But for the fumigation services, what I want you to tell me or think about is, for the fumigation services, what can be the various charge out models that you as consultants, or you can suggest to Ajay, that these are the various ways that you can charge for the fumigation service. Let's try and see. Come on, all the experts, you need to help Ajay. Ajay is waiting for you guys. You have to go get back to him saying that these are the various ways that you can charge. AMC with quarterly fumigation. Good, that's what Nalin says. One time monthly service includes weekly fumigation. Okay, done. Who? Yes, paper square foot. Okay, that's good, Meenakshi. That is getting fumigated. Okay, done. Any other model that you can think of? Come on, guys, think of it. What are the various charge out models? If you're not able to figure out directly, other similar services, what have been the models? Great. Okay, monthly. I can straight away say that, guys, my guy will come, he will have a machine installed or give you the entire machine in the society. If I will train, I'm giving you one more way to think, just that it came to my mind right now. I will train the society watchman, okay, and you can do the fumigation. I will just charge you for the liquid. Machine goes in for free. Monthly rent is better. Good one, Pragyan. That's nice. No charge for the service, fixed visiting charge, pay only for the sanitizer with options of different fragrance. Ah, that's good, Arun. Fragrances. That's so good to hear in the morning. Okay, and you can have different types of fragrances. Ah, good. Varsha says frequent services. Okay, let's see. Any other thought that people have? Okay, I think some interesting thoughts. So we'll wait for 30 more seconds. Have a standard service and a variant of deep sanitization. Yes, Minu, that's in fact that's a good idea. That's a good thought that you've done. That there's a standard. So we have two levels. There's standard, which can be done on a monthly basis, and every 6 months you do a deep sanitization. That's nice. Good one. Um you straight away give this to the, yeah, that's a good one. Straight away get the from the municipal corporation. So okay, you have a contract with them, they will pay you, and you kind of do the entire in the entire area of the municipal corporation, society by society. Good one. I think happy that you have started thinking that there can be various types of charge out models. UV sanitization, weekly charge for it. Good one. So I think good. Remember this, guys, that there are various ways to charge, and I'm happy to see that you've started tie up with Urban Clap. That's what Dr. Sheetal said. Good one. Yes. Great. So from here we move on to the next part of the cycle of commercialization of Wicked Designs, which is about, now we know. So let's understand the story. We know who the customers are. We know what is the value proposition that we are delivering. We also have pivoted and figured out that what is our charge out model. So we have all of that in place. We have figured that out as answers till now. So that's the stage that we are in. Now is the stage when we have to get in front of the investors, or the startup, or the design has to get in front of the investors to go and seek funding. And that's the next part that I'm going to cover for all of you, which is about communicating value. So, building investor stories. That's the next element that I'm going to cover. That's the next element that I'm going to talk about. So, um whenever you go in front of investors, remember, it is not about it. So investors do not just invest in the money or in the person. Today, if we talk about, a lot of investors, a lot of humans are investing in purpose. And that's why we say that today it's the purpose economy. Basically, a lot of, I mean, what is the purpose behind it? Is the purpose aligning to what my purpose in life, or to what my values are? And that's where a lot of these decisions are also taken, because behavioral science, and if, I mean, I'm sure you guys are exposed to it, but behavioral science says that 5% of human decisions are made irrationally, are made emotionally, and only 5% of them are rational decisions. Ultimately, it will come to that irrational point of purpose. So remember, so this is just that for my press. So I just defined it. But the message for all of us here is, people invest in purpose. Give it to them. That's what your investor story should be focused on. That's what when you're trying to go and pitch for it, when you're trying to communicate value, do not communicate just the value in terms of numbers. That will definitely come. But before that, communicate value through the purpose, right? And the framework for this, or the tool that you can use for this, the first part, how do you define purpose? Let's look at a good framework that you can use, or you can design the purpose story, which will help you to put the entire investor story together. So a few questions that you need to ask: who is the hero of your story? Which means, who is going through a challenge? What is happening? I mean, who is the person whose life is become miserable, or who's the person whose life you're trying to improve? Like in the my presso thing, I am trying to improve the life of employees, right? Employees are or corporate employees is my hero, is the hero of my story. The second part that you need to focus on: what is happening to the hero right now? In fact, if you look at it, most of the stories around the world that you would have loved, that you would have just followed, like if you talk about Bahubali, I mean, hero of the story is Bahubali. The challenge that he goes through in his life is that his kingdom is, his mother gets him killed, his mama or his uncle is having I mean, whom he trusted the most, betrayed him. These are the challenges. So what challenge is your hero going through today? That's the second part. That's how you define purpose. The third thing: when the challenges of the hero are at its peak, when everything wrong happened in Bahubali's life, when nothing was in place, at that point in time came in, that's what we call as the climax point of a story, or that's what we call as the climax point of the purpose. That this is where the people today are facing. More than 4 lakh people across the world, or maybe have died or due to COVID, or whatever is the number, right? So that's the climax point at the peak. The tension is at its peak, and that's where you introduce your design, your solution, saying that, by the way, I have something which can help improve Bahubali's life, which can help improve this hero's life, the person who's going through this challenge, or the people who are going through this. By the way, this is the solution which will help. And if this solution is implemented, the whole world is going to get turned around. Or this, if this solution is implemented, my user, or the hero of my user, or the hero that I have, will have a completely new life. Guys, I gave you purpose. I just gave you some purpose. It was not about the product. It was not about what I'm trying to sell to you. It was about someone whose life I am trying to change because of the solution that I'm trying to put. You will invest. You will say, I align to the purpose and I will invest in it, right? That's the difference. That's the difference that you make when you look at purpose driven investor stories, rather than just going and pitching the numbers to them. Great. So good, purpose defined. We then go to the second part of the ask. What are you trying to ask to the investors? What is that you're looking out from the investors, right? So that's what we will try and figure out. The questions that you need to get answers to here, or some questions that you need to help your students, or the people whom you are helping to design or to commercialize their design, is the first one: what are you expecting from the investors? Have a very clear answer. You're expecting money, say money. That I'm expecting money. You're expecting network, say network. I am expecting network. You're expecting mentorship, say mentorship. You're expecting direction to scale, say that I am expecting that, and tell why. Why are you expecting this? What is that is hampering right now? What is that is it's fine to be vulnerable sometimes. If there is something that you don't have right now, say, and you're saying that I need you for this, apart from only the money, not only the money, I also need you for this. Say, I want you to give me technology direction because I think you are a technology stalwart. So apart from the money, I also want the technology knowledge and direction. Ask for it. Be very clear with it. There's no harm, or there's no shame in talking about your vulnerability that you have. It's it it showcases honesty. It showcases that we know what are the challenges that we are facing, and we are asking for help. There's no problem in it. The second part, what is your commitment to the concept and the business? So that's the second question that you should have clearly. That why is the entire concept and design so important for you? Why is that? Because see, if someone is investing money in you, uh, I mean, I've seen a lot of startup pitches happening, and I've been a part of them also, and I have, as I said, I've mentored a few startups. So so that's the one thing that they look at. That if we are putting our money on you, how committed are you to the business? Okay. And the third question, what is your plan to scale? Is there a plan that you have? Is there something that you have in mind that that this is the direction and this is how I will scale this business or to the next level? And because I want to scale, and these are some areas that are not in place, I need help. And what help I'm looking at. The third part or the third question that you need to have a clear answer to when you're building investor stories is the return. Now, what are the expected returns from the business, which in the previous one we calculated through net present value. We have at least projected, we have estimated that this is what we are expecting this business to give in return, right? That's the first question. What can be the probable? So this, you might not have an answer to this. You might not at a more matured stage of a startup, or at a more matured stage of commercialization, you will have answers to this. But at a very start stage, you might not have. But if still you can think of something, because investors do look at an exit. I mean, various stages of it. I'll talk about that also. But they do look at an exit wherein they can encash whatever their investments have been at better valuations, right? So whenever you are helping people commercialize their designs, and when you're trying to help them put investor stories together, remember, it's the purpose, the ask, the return. These are the three things that you should have clear answers to. I've helped companies put their investor stories together. The most difficult part that I have faced is most of the times is to help them define the purpose itself, because that forms the opening of your entire investor pitch. Great. So now my time done. It's your time. Let's try and go to the next activity that we have. 1 second. Yes. So you need to help Ajay. So you are about to pitch. So Ajay is basically not you, it's me. Ajay is about to pitch this solution, the fumication service, to an investor in the next 1 hour. He needs help. He's reached out to all you experts, all you creative minds, saying that please help me with a one-line purpose story that can be the opening line of my pitch. That can be the opening line that I'm saying when I'm standing in front of the investor. That should be my opening line, and it has to be a killer, right? So let's look at some blockbuster purpose one-liners that you have. Yes, let's try and see what one-liners you can give me as a purpose opening line to the investor pitch. Just close your eyes and imagine that if you are standing in front of the investor and you have to pitch this, what would be your opening purpose line? What is that you will start with the one-liner that you will start with, and then open up your entire life, bring life back home. Good one, mean a good start to the entire thing. Let's try and look at others. Minu has set a good benchmark. Let's try and see if some of you can beat Minu. Yes, come on. Okay. It kills virus and thrills human being. Ah, good one. Kills and thrills. That's nice. I see a lot of poets coming out now. Can you imagine a way to protect you and your family at home, making it safe and safe heaven? Good one. Get your freedom back by our services. Freedom. You're attaching it to good one. Let's look at this. Unmute me, sir. Okay. If someone can help unmute Janki Ram, I'll be happy. Safe and happy kind. Good one, Nalin. Let's try and see what others. Minakshi says, virus out, happiness in. Ah, that's nice. Want your personal safety? Rely on us. Yeah. Okay. Because investors also want safety, right? Yeah, good one. So you start with that. Heaven in hell, paradise weekend. Mickey has already reached to heaven, man. That's good, Mickey. Uh, Amy says, money ahead, let's earn. Good one. Okay, let's try and see what others have to say. Come on. Arun says Suraksha and they say Samjhauta nahi. Again, a good one, Aruna. Let me just focus on Arun's this thing as well. Guys, remember, I've seen a lot of times people getting so I mean in the whole investor story bit also your opening liners can be in Hindi also or can be in some different language as well. Just try and see what is the composition of an investor group. It differentiates you. Like as soon as Arun said that Suraksha says Samjhauta nahi, it struck, right? So so
We'll discuss this.
that's sorry. Is there a question?
Nothing, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Sure, great. So that's something that you need to focus on: the purpose, the ask, the return. And I'm so happy that all of you have helped me with the one line. Marzi hai aapki, aakhir ghar hai aapka. That's nice. In Mumbai, तुमचा परिवार तुमचा नाही तुमची जबाबदारी. Yes, that's the tagline in Maharashtra that we have right now. Good. Safe place, happy space. That's nice. I'll see a lot of you having these great one-liners that you have given me. I will try and collate all of them and try and see which one do I want to use in the pitch that Varunam Kapam, good one. No, no, Dr. Sheetal, it's not that. Yeah, I mean, because I have a paucity of time. That's the reason I said we will look at a one-liner. Otherwise, the purpose story would not be a one-liner thing. It can just be the start line of it, and then you get into the entire purpose story. So, hope that answers. Hope that answers the question. So, I mean, this is just for you to start thinking about it from a purpose standpoint because we have paucity of time. But just remember, if you're looking at the entire purpose, start with this. This is a good framework that you can start with. Again, you can play around with it as much as possible. You can make your purpose more meaty by adding some data to it. All of that can happen, right? Saying that you define the hero and then you say that there are over 4 million heroes across, or there are over 4 million such people across the globe. That's how you build more steam to the purpose, or you say that the purpose is so large that we have, right? So hopefully that answers your question, Dr. Sheetal. Okay, cool. So I will progress, and in the end, if there is more questions, I will take. Good one, guys. So let's try and progress. So now, if you see, the story broadly gets completed to an extent. You figured out who the customer is. You figured out the value proposition and the value unit that you will be charging for. You've also figured out the charge out model and the entire economics of it. That how much is the investment required? How much will the money, cash inflows, cash outflows? You figure that out. You've also figured out that how am I going to go and pitch it to the investor? What is my entire story? What is that I'm going to put in front of the investor? Purpose, ask, and return. Now, I also wanted, I mean, when I was thinking of it to complete this entire thing, I just also wanted to. We will not have activity for this, but I also wanted to touch upon the whole cycle of investments. What is the overall this fundraising cycles that you have? Let me just kind of quickly touch upon this. Bootstrapping. So you will hear all these words. There are a lot of jargons that are floating around. Let's try and declutter or declutter some of those jargons and try and understand. So nowadays people say bootstrapping, it's about self-funded. So it says that I have put in my own money, अपने पैसे से अपना धंधा खुद चलाऊंगा. That's self-funded. Okay. The second thing that you may hear is pre-seed capital, typically raised from family, friends. When you do not have anything, you just have an idea that you want to work on. You will not have people in the market trusting you. It's your close family members, friends who might pull in some money and give it to you. They don't expect anything in return. I mean, they don't expect anything in return for the time being. They say that you move ahead, I will put in some money. That's pre-seed capital. You're at an idea stage, idea conceptualization with no revenue. It's in a very, very idea level right now. Seed capital, you want to develop the idea, sustain and pitch. That's the you move forward slightly. Here you have accelerators. There are accelerators in various institutes. There are accelerators which are formal accelerators as well across. There are government accelerators as well, or who kind of give you the seed capital to help you developing the idea and to kind of moving it forward. You have angels, angel investors, early stage growth for a proven concept. So you already have a proven concept. There is some bit of POC that has happened, proof of concept that has happened, and they will give you some money, and they will also give you mentorship and network. So they will not only just say that put in, so they're typically high net worth individuals. They will put in some money as well. They will mentor you to grow, and they definitely will give you some network. Definitely expecting returns from the investments that they have made. Then comes VCs, which is typically where a lot of sometimes or most of the times angels kind of exit. So when your organization raises funds from VCs, and again VCs also have various series that you have of funding. So there's a proven business model firm within. So these are formal firms with investors, board members, and everything. They give you networks and funds, and they definitely expect returns through exits that they are looking at. The exits can be through various mechanisms, either through takeovers or through IPOs, or there are various other mechanisms that you have. Within the VC itself, within the same VC thing itself, you have Series A, which are various levels. As in when your business is progressing, you have Series A, Series B, and Series C. Typically, when you are in Series B funding, startups become companies. So basically, you have reached to a level and scale wherein you're no more a startup. You have become a formal. You have become a corporate. You become a company. After that. Series B typically would be for scaling markets. You move to newer market, you move to newer, or you expand your horizons in terms of markets and everything. Series C typically for given for acquisitions or inorganic growth. This is the time when a lot of times hedge funds, investment banks, PE funds get involved into the entire game. So that's Series C. You might have a Series D and E also. That also happens. But just that, as in when your big business progresses, as in when the business model is maturing, you're expanding, you raise more and more money and for to fund the expansion, to have cash flows in hand. The next stage of it is IPO. I'm sure all of you are aware of what IPO is. It's basically your stock or your shares get listed on the stock exchange. So that's where what an IPO is. So you raise money from public. Requires a lot of paperwork and compliance. That's the thing. And what is expected in return? People expect dividends and returns in terms of better performance of your stocks and shares. A new thing that has come, that has also come nowadays in the new economy, is ICO, which is initial coin offering. So I'm sure all of you have heard of cryptocurrency, right? So a lot of these new age startups and new age companies are launching their own cryptocurrency through which they are raising money. So their cryptocurrency is getting traded at various valuations, through which they are raising money for the thing. The advantage of this is while this is still not a very matured still not a very matured instrument, but it bypasses the rigorous and regulated capital raising process, which I talked about. There's a lot of documentation and stuff that is required, and reduces the influence on capital investors. So it kind of does that. So I mean, fundraising starting from bootstrapping to ICO. This is the overall fundraising cycle. At various junctures in the businesses, you raise funds, or the startups raise funds, or the entrepreneurs, they raise funds to help have cash flows to expand and to grow, to scale, and to live their dreams. Cool. And remember, guys, with every fundraising, there's a cost that comes to it. So you have to be cautious. I think one thing that I kind of just want to pass on a message, that nowadays, a lot of this fundraising thing that is happening with a lot of young startups and young entrepreneurs. A lot of people think that fundraising is about a lot of people treat fundraising as profits. They're not. It comes with a lot of responsibilities and a lot of a lot of care that you have to take for someone else's money that you are taking and that you need to return to them. Cool. So I think with this, I have almost come to an end of the session. This is my favorite slide, and that's what I've put at the right hand side because all of you are teachers, because all of you are faculties, because all of you are professors, and some extent. I want, at least my request to all of you is that I want you also to change your approach a bit. Okay. And these are some requests that I'm putting in front of you, that how should your role be changing in this entire journey. The first thing that you will have to do, or the first change that you should bring in, and then tell you the icon that you see on the right, the meaning of that as well. But the first change that you need to bring in your life or in your way is move them out of the class. That's the first change that you should try and bring, which is about let them solve real world problems. When I say them, it's about the students whose life you are constructing, whose lives you are building, whose lives you are shaping. Just move them out of the class. Let them go to the real world and solve some real world problems. You will see naturally a lot of innovation coming out and happening. So, and you will also see the experience of your classes becoming more practical. What the a term that has been coined is rote learning. I'm sure all of you have heard of it. But remember, you more you move them out of the class into the real world, the better their experiences would be. The better they would be able to perform when they come out in the real world and they become a part of the entire as entrepreneurs or in the corporate whatever roles they take. The second change that I want you to bring in is stop being teachers, start becoming coaches, which is about don't tell them what to explore. Don't don't tell don't don't give them the answers. Help them explore. Show them the direction and just let them explore. Let them create and fail. Let them do that. Don't create a safe environment for them. They already have enough safe environments at home. I think it's our responsibility to let them face some real world challenges that are going on, what they will face when they come. To be a coach to them. The third thing that I also want you to kind of think about is become angel investors if you can. It's not about big money. Just try and see if some of them are promising, if you see that some of these ideas, some of them are promising, help them navigate the first few months. They will give you the money back. Just help them navigate the first few months, show them the direction, help them navigate. Your money will also come back. There's a risk involved, but still, I mean, that's how you help the whole culture grow. And the fourth part that I say, create a culture of experimentation and entrepreneurship within the institute, which is about a larger change that you want to bring. You can't simply do that by creating an institute level fund or get an alumni fund created, which will help a few startups or a few such concepts get funded every year, at least at an angel or a pre-seed seed level, so that you can have some of these startups or some of these ideas coming to life. And what you see in this, I just love this icon, and that's why I put it. What you see it here is it's a guru. So help them navigate. Just let them get into the real world and figure out answers on their own, and you will see much better innovation and much better experiments happening. And that's what the overall goal is. And with this, I come to the last slide that I have for all of you, which I believe firmly in. So this is my belief, and that's what I've put in. The code that you see here is my belief. A design on shelf is no design. Remember, so if there are ideas, if there are some designs that some people have put in, your students have put in, and it has not got commercialized, remember your entire effort is waste. It's absolute waste. So try and move them to commercialization. Try and move them to a commercial model, because that's when That's when the fun of it is also there, and that's when the satisfaction is also there. When your design goes in the hands of a customer, the customer uses it, and you see a smile on the. I've seen it a lot of times, and you see a smile on the face of the customer. I think there's no better feeling. I'll just again repeat: there's no better feeling than that you can ever have. So that's my final message to all of you in terms of commercialization of Wicked Designs. Um, you can connect with me on LinkedIn. I write a lot of blogs. As I've written, I write a lot of blogs on Medium. So this is my Medium handle. Can go and read some of my blogs. I keep posting there, so you can go and read it there. With this, I think I have ended what I wanted to share. Happy to take questions. And over to you, Ashish, or from the Vidyalanka side. Was I audible or not at all audible?
Audible.
Hello?
Yes. Sir?
Sure. I just suddenly,
Yeah.
I said I was talking,
That was the way.
Meenu, how can we use these inputs to teach in regular college curriculum? I think, Meenu, um, I mean, Meenu, I didn't understand your question very well. So if you can just unmute yourself if possible, and you can ask it so that I can answer your question.
Sir, thank you so much for a great session. Enjoyed it a lot. Sir, I wanted to know how this can be used as a methodology. I mean, I might not get a chance to teach this per se to the students, but can this become a methodology to teach anything, for example, economics or marketing?
Yes. So I'll tell you. I think a lot of frameworks of design, like I'm sure you would have seen the EDPIT, which is empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and test. Right? You've seen a
Right.
lot of models which end at test, right?
Yes.
What we use at KPMG, or what we have designed at KPMG, is an extension to it as well. So while whatever we do in terms of right from the stage of, so we call it explore, ideate, create, evolve, but right from the stage of empathy to the stage of test, beyond that, when we move to evolve, is when we have continued this entire, we've connected it to say that after the prototype and testing, you need to get it into design economics. Okay, so whatever you've gone through right now, you just need to connect it to, after the test stage, you have specs now, you have customer feedback, and you know that this is the evolution that I need to do with my design. So you have something in shape now, or you have some idea now in terms of what is the final design that you will have, or at least what would be the MVP that you need to build. After that, I think you can just connect this entire thing to say that we need to now get into design economics. Which is about, so there are various tools as well that are there, Meenu. So yes, definitely you can attach it to the entire design thinking methodology and kind of complete the entire story rather than just leaving it at test. If that answers your question.
Yeah, thank you, sir. I'll go over your blogs also. Maybe I will get more ideas.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes.
So there's another question.
Just
Which says that how can we
Yes.
adopt design thinking as a career? It's a very good question, actually.
Okay, I think Ganesha has asked this. So a good question, Ganesha. Let me tell you. So I'll give you an honest opinion. Okay, uh, there are in the market, if you look at today. Okay, there are there are not a lot of opportunities that are direct design thinking opportunities. Okay, which is about saying that you kind of have an established design thinking or a design driven degree or a design. So, I mean, there are opportunities from a design standpoint. So they can be in product engineering design, or they can be in UI UX design. All those hard skills, definitely there are. But from a design thinking angle, as of now, there are a few that come out, but there are not a lot of opportunities that are there. So normally, what I do is what I suggest, or what I have been working with a lot of people who want to create careers in this is, so what I always say is, you have a core, okay, which is about, suppose you're an engineer or suppose you're a law student. I mean, I was recently working with one of the person whose background has been of law, and she wanted to move to design. Okay, so what I was trying to work with her on was that, don't lose your core, keep your core, which is about law. Contextualize design, because see, design can be applied to every field, and I'm sure even law as a needs a lot of improvements, innovations, and design can help you do that. So contextualize design with your core. So combine your core and design thinking and create something unique. And you will see, similarly, I was working with an architect, with a student, not a student, she was a working professional. So I was working with an architect, and I said that, why don't you look at combining design thinking and architecture coming together and creating something unique? So I'll tell you, why am I saying this, Ganesha? Because uh, maybe if there are not a lot of job opportunities right now, which are direct design thinking opportunities, the market is still not matured so much. I think this creating unique propositions will help open up the entire market itself. So if even if a few of you or few of us, if we try and create these, saying that special, or I'll say kind of specialization, saying that design thinking in law, then I say design, which is contextualized completely, design thinking in architecture, and various such other domains and spaces. I think it kind of helps create more space for design thinking professionals in each of the domains and areas. So that's my take and suggestion. While from a career standpoint, if you want to look at some opportunities that are coming out, IT industry is definitely one hotspot where getting design thinking is getting some importance. Consulting is another space where design thinking is getting some importance. So these are there. But my feeling is, and that's what I am trying to work with a lot of people to create to create a design movement in India, to open up these spaces and mature it, say that, think that every space has a slightly different way of looking at design, which is contextualized to it, and that entire space becomes open for design thinking professionals coming up. Sure. So hope that answers your question, Ganesha. Thank you so much.
That was a great answer, sir. Participants, I request, if you have any more questions, you can put it in the chat box. Yeah, as one of the participants, sir, even I have a question. Like, as you said,
This is Ashish.
value purpose. Yeah, I'm Ashish. Yeah. So from value proposition,
Ashish, I will charge you for it.
Huh? Sure, sir. Sure. So as a value proposition and customer needs. So I just have a question that sometimes what happens as a teacher, I'm saying, like, I'm planning, like, when I was listening to the session, I was completely thinking from a teacher's perspective, that how can I incorporate design thinking in my curriculum, or when designing a curriculum or designing experiments, or planning down my academics. So in perspective, the customers that I look forward are my students ultimately. I should not call them actually the customers, but they are the service bearers basically. So when I'm like, yeah, they are the users basically. So when I'm thinking from the gain point of view, so in that perspective, my students are not very much like, they are not very much focused on what they actually want now. And there are various needs because we have a lot of heterogeneous kind of a crowd coming to us. So how you actually tackle when there is, like, when you are looking from the customer's perspective, what is the rate of sampling that we consider to come up to a conclusion that, okay, we will start up with this of a plan, and then we will go on iterating so that we can come with a mature plan later on. So how that process is being taken care of?
Okay, so I think your question is more regarding that. So I'll tell you how do we do it. There's a lot of customer research that we do when we are looking at when we are looking at designing for a particular group or for a more heterogeneous group itself. Uh, so there are two, three ways that we do. So one, how do we? So the first step is about categorizing users. So let me take the example of students itself. Okay. So when you look at students, there. So when we categorize users, so we try to segment them into four. That's a tool that we use, or that's a tool that we have kind of put together for ourselves. There are four kinds of users in any ecosystem. From a user, I'm not looking at the overall altitude standpoint right now. I'm just looking at the first piece, which is user. The four kinds of users that you might have. That's where we start, which is mainstream users. Then you have lead users, then you have extreme users, and you have outliers. Now, mainstream users typically are people who would generally use a product or a service that we are trying to deliver. Lead users are people who use the product or service as a way of their life. I mean, if you want to understand this more, I will have to take some more time because it's already 11:30. Basically, to give an example of this, let's take the example of a screwdriver. I'm sure all of us know screwdrivers, right?
Yes.
Yes. So, who do you think is the mainstream user of a screwdriver?
A mechanic.
That's wrong. Mainstream, all of us. Do you have a screwdriver at home, Ashish?
Yeah, I do have.
Are you a mechanic?
No.
No. But we all have screwdrivers at home. So we generally use the product. So we are mainstream users. Lead users, people who use of their life, people like mechanics, carpenters, all these people, without a screwdriver, their life is incomplete. So that's the lead user of a screwdriver. Then the third type of user is an extreme user. Extreme user are people who use it for a completely different purpose altogether, which is about screwdriver is actually made for or made for screwing and unscrewing screws, right? But people use it to break ice. People use it to open beer bottles. People use it for gardening. People use it for various different purposes, right? Which is not the intended purpose, but they have already innovated on the need itself. They're using it for a complete need, right? And the fourth type of user that we consider in the ecosystem, I'll tell this is the start of it. We use is outliers, which is if you don't have a screwdriver and you need to unscrew something, what do you use, Ashish?
Knife or anything, whatever is available.
People who use all these, they're outliers to us, right? So we want, because they have already innovated on the product. So why do you use a coin? Because it is ergonomically, does not tear away my pocket. It's available every time, right? All these things happen. So we start with this. We categorize our users. And then a norm that we follow is start our customer research. After we do our empathy research brief and everything, when we start our empathy research, the norm that we follow is 5 to 7 user per unique user category. So mainstream, we will cover 5. Lead, we will cover maybe only 2 because you might not have. If suppose there are different unique categories, then we might cover 2 to each. But typically 2 users in lead. Extreme, if we've been able to figure out who are the extreme users, we might cover 1 or 2 there also. Outliers, so we kind of define that who are our target audience, and then we cover 5 to 7. That's the norm that we follow, because these are highly qualitative studies that we do. In fact, recently we were working on a research that we did for the senior consumers of India, which was about senior citizens. So we wanted to understand the needs of the new senior consumers of India, typically between the age group of 55 to 75. Now, it was a complete eye-opener revelation for us. Whenever I say senior citizens, we would all kind of, it automatically comes to our mind. We say that vulnerable, staying in vridhashrams, all those kind of things coming. We created 4 personas, right? Saying that there is a category of senior consumers who have got money, extremely tech savvy, want to enjoy the world, right? So, and then we estimated that what's the overall market size. Can you take a guess of what the overall market size of senior consumers? That's why we termed as senior consumers, not senior citizens. But can you guess the overall market size of it? $250 billion in India of senior consumers. And we have, I mean, companies don't even consider them in the overall overall marketing strategy that they ever built.
Correct.
So hope that answers your question. I mean, it's a longer conversation, Ashish, but I mean, I'm just trying to answer it in the shortest possible
Yeah,
way.
but it was a really great answer, sir. I could now actually correlate to my field easily. Yeah, thank you. Thanks a lot, sir.
Sure. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any more questions? Okay.
Okay. With Vanessa Spoon's knife. Okay. Some others have also answered.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool. I think we've overshot on time, so
Yeah.
I think we can end the
So
session now.
yeah. So I'm extremely thankful to you, sir, for this great session. You have explained us a lot in detail that what is design thinking. Whenever we think design thinking, we only have some limited perspective, but you have broadened our perspective today, and you have asked us, or you have told us that yes, there are n number of ways in which you can think about design thinking, and you can apply in day-to-day life. You have actually explained us how to think from consumer's perspective or the customer's perspective while designing your products. So that was a great input for us, because whenever we design a product, we think what we think and we design it instead of how customers think, and then taking their feedbacks in and making a feedback control system so that our product will be more acceptable. It was a great input for us. You have actually explained us how the need value thing works, then the value proposition and consumer need, how to correlate them. Then you have also explained us the commercial models to develop our product. Also, you have given us how to create our own communicating story for our fundraisers and for our investors. How to build a hero in our story, and how to give a one-liner. And many people have actually started thinking in that direction and have actually proposed good one-liners, as you have also appreciated the participants. You have actually given us the communicating value, that is the purpose, the ask, and the return, in which the purpose was so touching to my heart also, and to everyone. I think that even when I purchase a product, I always think of how it is aligned to my thinking. So that's a very kind of a right point that you have suggested us. The fundraising point, that was a very good point for all the teachers also, because whenever we ask for a product development from our students, we never give them the inputs of how to raise funds. And normally what happens is idea gets perished only because they are lacking in funds. So give all the teachers also a motivation to motivate our students to in the direction how the fund to be raised. And the last slide was the most important and most touching to every teacher's heart. That was like how we should actually be a good coach instead of a teacher. So we always say that now we are moving from the teacher-centric education technology to a student-centric educational technology. Are becoming a facilitator rather than a proprietor in the classroom. And you said rightly, and you pointed out rightly, that be a coach and help the students rather than dictating them that what they should do. So let them explore the world and bring them real world problems. So this is how it was a real eye opening for all of us through this design teaching. We really find it easy for us now to streamline our work also, our academics also, to the upcoming semester. Thank you so much for this pleasant and a very thoughtful and a great learning session, sir.
Thank you so much, Ashish. Thank you so much, everyone. You've been a great audience. You've been a great and great one-liners that you've given me. Great participation. I have felt very good being a part of it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
So I'm just leaving. Ashish, I have to step out for another meeting. So hope that's
Oh,
fine.
yes, sir. Yes, sure, sir. Sure, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Yeah.